So this is what a $130,000 profit looks like after 60 days of trading Forex. Now, before you go any further, I need to be 100% real with you. This is real, but results like this is extremely rare and it's not typical. What this screenshot doesn't show you are the years of absolute pain that came before it. In February 2024, I was completely broken, staring at another blown account, and I was about to actually give up on trading for good. In this video, I'm not going to show you just the strategy that made this possible, but I'm going to walk you through the full story from being a consistently losing trader to finally having this breakthrough. And the most important part is how you can apply the same principles starting today. See, this isn't some magic indicator. It was a fundamental shift in how I looked at the market. So for years, I was stuck on the same hamster wheel as most retail traders. I'd wake up, force myself, look at the charts, and feel this crazy pressure to find a good setup. I tried everything you can think of. I filled my charts with dozens of lagging indicators like RSI, MACD, you name it, thinking that more data meant I'd make better trades and better calls, but it didn't. It gave me analysis paralysis. I jumped into signal groups on Telegram, Discord, blindly copying trades from these so-called gurus. A few would win, giving me that dangerous little hit of hope, but most of them lost, slowly bleeding my account and my confidence dry. And I'll never forget this one trade in Euro USD. The signal was a guaranteed home run hit. I got greedy, I turned up my leverage, and I just watched in horror as the market ripped in the complete opposite direction. I lost $3,000 in less than 10 minutes with money I really could not afford to lose. Yeah, that night was a serious low point, and I just felt like a total failure. I had poured thousands of hours into studying, backtesting, and watching videos just like the one you're watching now, but absolutely nothing worked. My account was bleeding out, my stress was through the roof, and the whole dream of financial freedom felt like a sick joke. I was convinced that I was just part of the vast majority of traders who are told they're doomed to fail. I shut my laptop and I said, I'm done. I quit. And for 2 weeks straight, I didn't even glance at the charts. The frustration was just too much. I was ready to just walk away forever. I was ready to just walk away from trading for good. And after 2 weeks of just complete silence, something weird happened, right? The anger started to fade, the curiosity crept back in, and with zero pressure to actually make money, I started looking at the charts again. But this time, it was different. I deleted every single indicator, all of them. I was left with just a clean screen, nothing but raw price action and the candlesticks. And that's when it hit me. I had my aha moment. My aha moment wasn't really a complex formula. It was just simple. For years, I was trying to predict what the market would do next. But the secret isn't prediction, it's reaction. The big banks, hedge funds, they're the ones moving the market, and they leave footprints all over the charts. And my job wasn't to outsmart them. It was actually just too simple. It was just to follow them. It just led me to a straight, simple concept of supply and demand, simply focusing on what big institutionals call order blocks. These are just price levels where huge clusters of orders were placed, creating these powerful zones of supply or demand. So instead of chasing every little wiggle on the chart, I realized I only needed to do two things: find these high probability zones and then patiently wait for the price to come back to them. Simple. See, I stopped feeling like I had to trade every single day. I got off the 1 minute and the 5 minute charts, and I decided to just build a plan based on my discipline, based on patience, and based on a real understanding of market structure from a higher time frame. And it was a total mindset shift. And I had to stop being a gambler and start acting like the house. That made probably one of the biggest differences in my entire life. It changed my life. It gave me the freedom. And by sticking to just a few simple but strict rules, such as time frame correlation, such as top-down analysis, and also having an obsessive risk management, I was able to get results like this. I was able to secure $130,000. I have to be crystal clear again. Results like this are not normal, but it's just an exception, and they only come after years of painful losses and learning. Money is great. It gives me the freedom to do things, but that's not the real win here. The real win was actually freedom. I was able to travel all over the world without having to worry about any finances. The freedom came from just the constant stress of just losing, and the freedom from the 9 to 5. I was so desperate to leave behind. Waking up when I want, knowing my future, my own future was in my hands. And that was the actual real profit. See, this strategy didn't change my trading account. It didn't change, how I looked at the markets, but it just changed my entire perspective of life. It changed my entire perspective of what money is. And I truly can understand when they say money is just an illusion. All right, how did I actually do it? What's the exact strategy? Let's jump on my screen and I'll break down the step-by-step process. Okay, so this is a strategy that has helped me make $130,000 in 60 days, and it's pretty damn simple. Number one, again, the higher time frame, you want to allocate where the market is going and also the structure pivot points, right? So looking at it here, we were in a complete downtrend. Price was creating this low right here, high, and a lower low right here. Then price right over here shifted. We had that market structure shift. So that indicated to me, right, that price went from a downtrend to an uptrend. So now we're looking to buy. Now in this case scenario that we're looking to buy, I need to go ahead and find my demand zone. So right over here, this is the area of demand that we were looking at. And then also right over here was another area of demand as well. And there's a specific reason why I made this my demand area as well, but this is what I call a flip, right? You have a flip right over here, and you have a flip right over here. Okay, so once price taps into that demand, typically what I would like to do is just scale down to the smaller time frame. So in this instance, I went down to the 5-minute time frame. Now price tap into that demand. The whole goal now is, going back to the 1 hour, is to make sure that because our 1 hour is bullish, now we need to make sure that retracement is also bullish, because right now it's in a temporary downtrend as the retracement. So when price retraces into this area, right, I wouldn't count this as a pivot point because this is where market opens. So the way I looked at this right over here, right, and we actually called this out in our free Discord, but we have a break of structure right over here, a break of structure right over here, right? And so the pivot points are going to be this low right here, high, lower low, lower high, and a lower low. Then we see, right, price again is just retracing. So what I did was I waited. Right now we are waiting for price then to push down. Cool. Price then created that fake change of character, or that lower high. Again, I didn't count this area because that's right around where market opens, and sometimes that's just false indicators. So what I did was wait for a nice market structure shift where price can close above this area right over here, right? So that was the market structure shift that we were looking at. So we were waiting on a 5-minute time frame. Once it closed above, right, see, we were waiting, boom, once price closed above, right, we entered right over here with our stop loss at this low, and we were just targeting a nice 1, 2, 3. So that gave me extra confirmation, especially that now we entered at the 5-minute area of demand on the flip, right? Because this right here is also another flip right over here. Again, if you guys want more insight of this strategy, I have my free Discord as well. So yeah, right? So this is pretty much how the trade plays out. Once we enter that trade, you can see here, let's speed up the process a little bit. Right? How literally 0 to no drawdown. Then we just smash TP. And I always target a nice 1, 2, 3. So hopefully that helps. I get it. This can feel like a lot to take in all at once, but I promise you, it's simpler than it sounds. It's about cutting all the noise and focusing on what the chart is actually telling you. If you found this helpful and you want to see more breakdowns and live trade examples, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss what is next. Also, I've also started a free Discord group. The link is in the bio. I post my weekly market analysis, trade ideas, and I point out some of the key zones I'm watching. And it's absolutely not a signal service. It's just a place for us to learn together. The link is in the description, and if you want to join us. So just remember, is that where I was a couple of months ago or even a year ago, I was a failing trader, drowning in self-doubt and on the absolute brink of quitting. I'm not special, and I'm definitely don't have the genius level IQ. The only thing that changed was my approach. All I did was swap complexity to simplicity, and I traded my impatience for patience. Trading is one of the hardest things you can ever try to do, and the risks are very real. But if a guy like me who is ready to walk away can find a path to consistency, then I know it's possible for you too. Put in the work, study the charts, and trust the process. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.